If you've been around on YouTube long enough, you will know who this man is.
Meow. Meow.
Oh, whoop, hang on, wrong video.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome to Five Nights at Freddy's.
Markiplier, who I feel deserves a spot on the FNAF Hall of Fame, Mount Rushmore, whatever you want to call it. He's released his own self-financed movie, Iron Lung. And not only did he produce it, he also directed it, wrote it, starred in it, and also edited the entire thing himself. Pulling complete all-nighters and long hours to get this exactly how he wanted it. What he's done with Iron Lung is quite literally a dream of mine. Spoilers ahead, because I'm not just discussing the film, I'm also going to be talking about parts of the game. So if you want to watch or play either of those, then make sure you go and do that before you watch this video. Are you back? All right, let's go. When you hear the phrase video game adaptation, it doesn't bring delightful memories. It's definitely not got the best rep in the industry, and most of these films do make me want to drown in a big ocean of blood. And the only thing worse than a video game adaptation is a YouTuber movie. At least these ones anyway. No discredit to them, but they definitely laid the groundwork for people not taking that sort of thing very seriously. But Iron Lung, if nothing else, you can just see how deeply Mark cared about making this film. This isn't Laid in America, this isn't The Thinning. Yes, I watched that when I was 14 and thought it was the next Godfather. We're in the midst of a resurgence of the YouTuber movie, and Iron Lung, as well as stuff like Raka Raka's making with Talk to Me and others, are just the tip of the iceberg. It's not just a company slapping the biggest faces of the week from YouTube in a movie together anymore. It's actually dedicated hard work from these real creatives. And these YouTube legends like Markiplier and Raka Raka, they are making stuff that is special. And Iron Lung is just that. Now, it's definitely useful to get a bit of backstory here, and I've never played the Iron Lung video game, but I did take a bit of time to familiarize myself with the world just so I knew what I was going into with this movie so I could fully appreciate it. The main character is a convict who is sent on a conviction realization program. The program involves being sealed in a submarine known as the Iron Lung and plunged into the depths of a giant blood planet to search for information clues and to take pictures. However, the reason why they're doing any of this in the first place is because every known star and habitable planet completely vanished, leaving only a handful of people on spacecrafts and stations to piece back together what happened and how to survive. Truly nightmarish stuff, if you ask me, that only scrapes the very top of the surface of what actually is an incredible bit of lore and story. And I think Mark and his team did a brilliant job at capturing that in just over 2 hours. What really blew me away though was just the raw and dark theming that this film had. The tone that is shown off feels completely appropriate to the story and the way I imagine it feels playing the Iron Lung game. From watching the footage of what the game looks like and comparing that to the design and aesthetic that the movie has, they just did an insane job. On top of that, the way that Mark wrote this story is great. Some context, I walked into my showing a bit late, thank you very much traffic, and I sat down probably maybe 5 minutes into the start of this film, but I slowly unlocked more information as the story progressed and I never once felt like I wasn't missing anything. It's like I was being fed a new element or a piece of lore that just kept me hooked even longer. And in a way it kept me engaged throughout the entire runtime of this movie, and with my TikTok attention span, that is impressive. As well as that, the entire production is shot on one location. We literally don't leave the Iron Lung submarine at all, besides some very brief flashbacks and memories of Simon's. Anyway, not many one location films actually work, and even more never stick to their rule and stay in the one location. They often want to venture outside or see what's beyond their space. But that's not what happens here, and that's great because it just kept the story just as contained as the submarine was. If they did, it probably would have turned into some sort of sadistic bloodbath version of Subnautica. In fact, I'll go as far to say as I think it would have been a mistake to go further. We don't know what's quite lingering around the outside of the hull of this ship. Something's obviously trying to get in because of that irritating alarm that's just shouting hull breach. But that unknown is really what strengthens this story as a whole. We're just sat with Simon, waiting for each little bit of detail to come at us so he can try and escape. We slowly learn of the real mission's intention over time. We watch as he goes from quite mentally sharp to just insane over 2 hours. There's so much going on, there's so much detail, and part of that is just down to Markiplier's performance. So much story is brilliantly conveyed by just him. I don't think he's ever going to get as much credit as he deserves for his acting, but genuinely it is so good. The subtlety in his performance is mind-blowing. Just you can get so much from that. All the time we're just waiting for something to happen. We're urging the crew up top to just pull Simon to safety. It never once feels dull, and that is an achievement in itself. Every corner of this submarine has such purpose as well. Like, the set is brilliantly designed, and I think that was also very similar in the game as well. Nothing in there is not necessary. Everything in the set is so meticulously planned and adds so much to the story. My god, there's literally one scene where Simon is just stood talking to a speaker for about 5 minutes, and it's the most interesting thing I think I watched in the movie. All we get is like 3 different angles in that, just Mark, the speaker, and then inside the speaker, which is really cool. Then we see Simon's reaction, then we see blood trickling down the wall in close-up. It's so edge of the seat, what the f*** is 'em? This is the stuff I love in movies. Speaking of blood, this movie used 80,000 gallons of it. That's like filling an entire swimming pool. It's also the most used ever. I think the next closest was Evil Dead with 50,000. How do you even place that? Do you just ring up the fake blood company and go, oh yeah, I need 80,000 gallons? There's literally scenes where it's just Simon swimming in blood, and that's it. That's all you see. Really crazy stuff. My only real negative, and it may not even be that much of a negative to some people, is that the shots did linger on a few things for just a little bit too long. That is being very picky. And I can imagine that's probably part of the game, going and checking the photo and then going straight back to the controls and navigating more. That's the whole repetitive loop. But for film, this can possibly be seen as a bit unsettling, and maybe that's the vibe they were going for, but I can understand if audiences don't like that so much. What this film absolutely triumphs in, though, no doubt, is how big of a success it is for indie cinema. I have never seen a cinema that packed on a Friday at 12:15. People want to see that movie. I want to see that movie, and I did, and it was great. And at the end of the day, you should too, because you're literally contributing to, I would like to say, the future of cinema. Just like gaming, indies are now breaking straight into the mainstream, and I see the exact same thing happening with cinema. At the moment, indie filmmaking is so taboo, it's literally just completely overshadowed by big studio cinema. But this is the best example at the moment of how this can and probably will change. An original indie story, a video game adaptation, or just the YouTube movie made by the FNAF guy. Whatever you want to call it, I think it's definitely deserving of the title Absolute Cinema.